Good evening and welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex. Lord, last night, the first pitcher since the turn of the century was officially named the National League Cy Young. Chris Sale, we've been expecting it. This was always the expectation. The bigger question was, would it be a unanimous? It wasn't unanimous. 26 out of 30 first place votes. But the man who won the first Triple Crown since Clayton Kershaw in 2011 is now the first Braves Cy Young Award winner since, I believe, 99. It might be 98.
Yeah, I mean, it was 98. I hate to be this pessimistic guy. What four idiots thought that Zach Wheeler had? There has never been in the history of this sport a Triple Crown winner not win the Cy Young. What is your reasoning for this guy, Chris Sale, who had identical numbers to Tariq Skubal, not win the Cy Young? I want to talk to those four guys and give me your reasoning. And you know what's even more impressive is Jorge Soler. You even have me out in right field, and Chris Sale has even better numbers. I mean, Jorge Soler, among a couple other Braves, single-handedly inflated Chris Sale. Like he could have had a way better season. That's how good he was. I have no idea how anybody in their right mind, outside of a couple of morons who think they're smarter than they really are, could vote anybody other than Chris Sale. So happy for him. He talked about it a little bit. I don't know where it was. But I thought it was really cool that he was like, I think it's more, I can cherish it more. I can appreciate it more now than maybe when he was on that run where 7 straight years of top 6 finishes, 5 straight of top 5 finishes. He said that he appreciates it more now because he kind of almost, it had to have creeped through his head on those 4 seasons of injuries where he's like, am I ever going to be the same guy?
Yeah, I mean, it's like we talk about with Alabama and maybe Georgia. You get used to that level of success that it doesn't necessarily bring you the same joy that when you don't have that success after 5 years. If Tennessee goes out there and wins a national championship after not winning 25 years, it's going to be
way sweeter than Georgia.
Yeah. So and just like when Georgia won their first national championship, it was the sweetest taste of victory those fans will ever feel because for 40 years they couldn't win one. I mean, it's very much like that, and it may be even more so because he physically felt being in the depths of and questioning himself and questioning his ability, and that's natural. But
way better because it's amazing. Those teams have hope where they're like, he had to have been questioning.
Yeah, I mean, he was on the side. He was on the sidelines, and as we talked about before the season, a lot of these injuries were freak injuries. It was getting in a motorcycle accident. It was like a thumb. It was like injuries that don't typically happen. And he did have a Tommy John mixed in there, but unbelievable. There's a tons of stats to back up. I mean, I think Sarah Langs tweeted out first pitcher to ever finish 5 straight years in the top 6 for Cy Young voting. He did it 7 straight years, but first person to do it for 5 years, then go 5 years without it, and then even finish in the top 5, and he won. So it's kind of a crazy stat, but it's very, very special. He was asked on Foul Territory actually recently, right before we're recording this, whether he thinks it's a Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Famer because of this. He said no. I think we've learned Chris Sale is a little bit of a humble guy. Do I have to say he has to do a little bit more? Maybe. But at the end of the day, I have a hard time thinking with this Cy Young Award, 7 straight. Injuries are part of the game. At a certain point, when you look at a guy like Mike Trout's career, if he never plays another game, he's going to be a Hall of Famer, right? Yeah. I mean, he'll be probably unanimous because of what he was when he was healthy. When Chris Sale is healthy, he's one of the best pitchers we've ever seen.
And these jerk offs, and that's what they are. Some of them, not all of them. These jerk off Hall of Fame voters, they're going to vote Mike Trout because, character counts and he did it the right way. Well, if that's your thinking and is narrative based to a certain, nobody's done it better than Chris Sale in terms of, for the game, for his team. He's tried and true. He's my dad's pitcher kind of a guy where he's not this, wearing neon sleeves and everything like that, where, my dad's rolling over in his grave watching Ronald Acuna thump his chest. So Chris Sale, I think, is obviously going to be a Hall of Famer, even if he doesn't want to admit it. The question is he going to be wearing a Braves hat when he goes into the Hall of Fame?
Well, I mean, listen, it's a fair question because right now, outside of the years with Boston, this is definitely his best chance to win a World Series. He wins a Cy Young. He wins a World Series in Atlanta. I mean, I don't think he's going in as a White Sox.
No.
So it's like, and in Boston, he was pretty much injured. Is that really what he's going to do? So at the end of the day, I think there's a decent chance.
I kind of said that joking, assuming it would just be with the Red Sox because he did win the World Series and he did have.
But he pitched. He was injured for 5 years.
Half the time he wasn't even pitching.
Yeah, he was injured for 5 years. I mean, those were. Listen, honestly, I don't know if Sales is going to have. He's not going to be probably one of those guys that goes in. He's probably going to go in as like all three. You know, he's not going to be one guy that's going to pick a team because. But listen, he's got an opportunity, and I think he'll tell you. You know, there's unfinished business. The way that this season ended, fantastic for Chris Sale, but. I think everybody in that locker room, and Chris Sale included, you know, he came here to win a world championship. He didn't come here to win a Cy Young. The Cy Young was surprising. I'm sure he loves the fact that he finally got over that hump because he's been so close before. But he came here for one solo reason. The Braves have a fantastic team moving forward. They've got to feel like they just got shafted after what just happened this season in terms of injuries. And I think, you know, what better way to have this guy leading your team in the second year and everyone kind of looking at you because we talked about him when we acquired him. What's one of his best attributes? The guy's the ultimate winner. The guy's a leader. The guy's a guy you can lean on. And now he's gone out there and had this kind of season. I look for him to really be the vocal leader in the clubhouse, especially with a guy like Travis d'Arnaud exiting in free agency.
Yeah, I think
Max Fried probably.
Yeah. Excellent season. Still pissed off. And I know it was just a wild card round. Pissed off we didn't get to see him in the postseason.
We got robbed.
I mean, he was healthy for 98% of the season, closer to 99. I mean, one game, whatever, a few games, and we didn't get to see him. It's really unfortunate. That was, you know, we said it, you know, leading up to the postseason that it would be just a crime against humanity not to see Chris Sale pitch in the postseason. But our thinking was the Braves aren't going to make it. You know, they're going to miss the wild card. You know, obviously we were not thinking that he was going to have back spasms in the final week of the season. We were robbed.
Yeah, we got robbed. I mean, there's absolutely, I mean, and guess who feels like he got robbed more than anybody? And I believe he said that. I think he said it like earlier in this week where he was like, it does piss me off that I didn't get an opportunity to go out there and do that. And listen, would anybody have doubted the Braves' chances? I mean, not only is that like everything that had happened this season, it's just like kind of the final gut punch, you know, the straw that breaks the camel back. Like the guy that we've been leaning on, the number one reason we feel like we have a chance in a 3-game series against a team that's more talented than us is because of Chris Sale, who's been the best pitcher in the National League. And when he's on the bump, we've won like 20 out of 25 of his starts, maybe even more than that. And unfortunately, he didn't get to pitch. But fantastic for Chris Sale. Happy for him. Unfinished business. We're going to get into some football talk coming up after the break.